Okay, so now as we have downloaded the SQL Server installation file, now after the the download, we will get the screen like this, where we have to go and click on install. So this is actually a installation media where it will get us all the links needed for SQL Server, SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, all setups we will be finding over here. So this is a, as you can see, it's a SQL Server Installation Center. So first thing what we are going to do now is we are going to click on the new SQL Server standalone installation and features to an existing installation, right? That is where we will be guided to click to install SQL Server 2022 on our local machine. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, and please remember we are downloading SQL Server Developer Edition, right? So we have to select Developer Edition, which is free. Okay, and you don't need to provide any license for this since it is a Developer Edition, and we are going to learn using this Developer Edition, right? So this not we are not going to use it for commercial purpose. So with that, we are going to click on Next button over here, and then we have to accept the license. Okay, so after accepting the license we need to go and click on next. So this will download the necessary files which is needed to be downloaded for SQL Server. And then we also get an option to for Microsoft updates offers, like Microsoft will be sending you the updates for in one timely manner, and then we will have to install the updates as well. So we are not going to go with the Microsoft updates here, so we'll just leave it unchecked. Then we'll click on next, and then it will take few minutes to get the installation setup files on our system. Now one thing to note over here is there is one warning which is okay because it is a firewall issue and that we can fix it later. So we'll go and continue with the installation. So we'll just click on next then. Now here is a place where you have to pay a little extra attention because we have to know what we are going to install. So in this case, what we are going to install is the database engine services. Okay, and if as we are also going to set up our installations integration service, so we'll check integration service as well, and then analysis services, right? So these are the options which we have to select from here. This is must. And then if you want, you can also go with master data services, data quality client, all those things you can also opt for. Okay, I'm just going to leave them as it is. I'm not going to select them because for our course or for our module we are just going to have these things are needed for us. Okay, and then we are going to click on next. Okay, remember, the more feature you select, the more space it is going to require on your machine. So just whatever we are going to use, we will just go and select those features, and then we can go and click on next. That's it. Okay. Now here we have an option to give a name to our server instance. By default it takes MS SQL Server. If we want to go with that, we can go ahead and can go to the next. But let me change the name over here because let's say I need something else. So we are going to name this server as MSBI, um, let's say training, or MSBI server, let's say. Okay. So I'm going to give the name to my instance as MSBI server. So that's it. And then we are going to click on next button. Okay. So now we have got an option to to select the authentication mode. So ideally I will go with all the default authentication here. Okay, account which is going to be created which will authenticate for our access. SQL Server Agent, I will leave it as manual because this is going to only run when we need it. Otherwise, we'll just leave it as it is manual. So it will, we have to start it and whenever we need the server agent to run, right? And then rest of them will be automatic. Again, we are going to click on next and go ahead. So these are all the setups what we are getting now. Now, this setup is for our data SQL Server, login mode. So, are we going to, log in only with Windows authentication, or we can go with mixed mode? I will prefer to go with mixed mode, so that if, let's say, sometimes Windows authentication doesn't work, I can go and log in with my SQL Server login. So here, if you see, SA is a default username which you will have to use, and you can give your password, right? So I am going to give some one of my password. Okay, you can give your own password over here. And then you will have to authenticate one default user, which is in this case, since I have logged in with on the server with my credential, I'm going to authenticate myself over here. So my username will be picked up from the Windows login. So you can see it's a web's world. So I'm going to select this and get to the next screen. So I click on next now. Then we have to set up for analysis services, right? So we have also we are going to cover um, analysis services, for which we have also going to learn both the modes, multidimensional and tabular. So in this case, I'm going to select, I will install multidimensional first, and then once we are coming back over here, then we will be installing tabular mode as well. But for now, we will go with only, we can only go with one option at a time, right? So I'm going to select multidimensional mode, and again I'm going to do the same. I'm going to authenticate as one default user over here. So that's me, and then I'm going to click next. Okay. So now it will show you all the the features and the setups what we have selected throughout the steps till now, and now we are going to click on install. So this is going to take few minutes to set our SQL Server on this machine. So it will take time. So yeah, I think I will do the fast forward here, and then maybe we can come back and see how the installation go. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we have reached to the end of the setup. So it's almost going to complete now. So let's wait. Once we see the successful message, then we are good to go ahead with the rest of the setup. So now we have installed SQL Server completely, right? You can see all successful messages are there. That's very good. So finally, we are done with the SQL Server setup. Okay, so we are going to close this screen now, and we are back to our SQL Server installation center, right? So this is the first thing which we have done as a SQL Server setup. Now, to to log into the SQL Server, we need SSMS, which is Server Management Studio. That will help. That's an ID for you know logging to the SQL Server and browsing our tables and views on the databases. So we have to get that installed. So for installing SQL Server Management Studio, we can actually click on this link on the third one from the top. So this is going to download SQL Server Management Studio for us, and now we have been navigated to the website URL where we are going to download SQL Server Management Studio 19.1. This is the latest one. Okay, so the good thing about going through the installation center is we will always be getting the latest version from the Microsoft, right? So here we are again going to do the same. We will click on this URL. Okay, this will download SQL Server Management Studio setup files on our local machine, and then we will follow the steps how we did for the SQL Server. So let it get downloaded. So once it's downloaded, I will go and open the file. Still few seconds left. Okay, so we are done. We are going to go and open the setup file now. Okay, cool. Now what we'll do, we'll go and set up our SQL Server Management Studio. Again, we'll follow the wizard here. So this is the path where the SQL Server Management Studio is going to be installed. We are going to click on install here. So click on install button. Again, it takes a few minutes to get the required files downloaded onto our server, and then the setup will continue. So let me pause it, go to the fast forward mode, and then we'll come back once the setup is complete. So yeah. Okay, so we are almost done with the setup. So let's wait once this screen goes to the next. Okay, so SQL Server Management Studio needs a restart of our PC. So what we'll do now is we are going to restart the server. Okay, so that's it for now. So I will come back with the rest of the setups in the next video. So till then, bye. Thank you.